All right, I want to look at the what's known as the Trimarga, the three spiritual paths of Hinduism. For a Hindu, samsara is life's essential problem. Reincarnation is not a good thing, as Westerners sometimes assume. You're being reborn into life after suffering life, not a good thing. The ultimate goal of Hinduism is to gain freedom from samsara. This is called moksha, which means literally release or liberation. Release and liberation from the rules of karma and from reincarnation. Eventually, we will all tire of samsara and muster the discipline needed for liberation. There is not a single path to this salvation, but several, with considerable overlap among them. So there are three ways to live the spiritual life. It's called the Trimarga, which literally means three paths. A Hindu will incorporate elements of each in his daily life or emphasize different elements at different life stages. There's Karma Marga, the way of action, Jnana Marga, the way of wisdom, Bhakti Marga, the way of devotion. Yoga is often used interchangeably with Marga, and that's what the IB guide uses. Yoga, not Marga, but they're the same. It means discipline. It derives from the Sanskrit word for yoke. You see the cognate there. It involved all manner of practices related to one's spiritual well-being. So let's look first in this lecture at the Karma Marga, or Karma Yoga. Get it? In a sense, all Hindus pursue this path one way or another. Although moksha is the ultimate goal of all Hindus, most Hindus are not primarily concerned with attaining it. Moksha is a distant goal. It's a steep path. Properly attending to one's duties in this life puts one in a better position to obtain moksha in a future life. Therefore, one need not seek moksha to be a pious Hindu. So, Hindu tradition speaks of the four goods of life. Dharma, the good of duty. Artha, the good of wealth or fame or worldly power. Kama, the good of pleasure, sensual pleasure. And moksha, which is release from samsara. Moksha is the highest good by far. Each of these goods are worthwhile aims in life. All can be pursued while generating good karma. To obtain the good of moksha, however, one must be willing to forsake the other three goods. Karma originally referred to ritual action, Vedic sacrifices, and it later acquired moral implications. What are some examples of meritorious religious activity? We're going to look at the examples of rituals, festivals, and pilgrimage, all of which are huge in Hinduism. So rituals. There are daily rituals and rites of passage. A pious Hindu will get up early, thinking of a Hindu in a rural village somewhere, utter the name of his personal god, touch the earth, and bow to the image of the god. He will then bathe for both hygiene and purification. He will apply forehead markings. He will say a morning prayer, usually a recitation of some ancient mantra. A pious Hindu may go to the temple and worship by burning incense, prostrating before the god or gods, and waving camphor flames before the god. These practices are known collectively as puja. It means daily devotionals and offering, puja. And this is a dead link. Hindus ritualize moments of transition in the life of the individual as well. These are known as samskaras, sacraments marking the passage of time, stages of life. Some Hindus mark as many as 16 samskaras, but the most prevalent are birth, initiation, marriage, and death. There are pre-birth rituals, such as the parting of the hair rite. This is apparently a kind of baby shower, and I don't understand what it is, but I'm told by Hindus that it's a thing. There are also post-birth rituals, such as the naming ceremony, usually 10 days after the birth. Initiation usually occurs before the teen years. This marks a boy's second birth and entry into studenthood. Although orthodoxy does not do this, many Hindu communities now also mark a girl's passage into womanhood, like a bat mitzvah. Wedding rituals celebrate what is to most Hindus the most important rite of passage in life. Hindu weddings are always grand, frequently expensive, and last multiple days. They're administered by a Brahmin priest and involve many rituals, including circumambulation of a sacred fire, walking around a sacred fire. The final samskara in a Hindu's life is their funeral. Cremation is by far the prevailing custom. There are very few exceptions. Very small children, sannyasins, and members of really small, untypical sects are buried. But cremation is by far the prevalent way. So ordinarily, funeral rites began almost immediately after a person dies. The body is washed, anointed with sandalwood, clothed, and taken by a procession to the cremation grounds. Once at the site of the cremation, which is frequently near a river, untouchables, Dalits, take charge of the body. They cannot be polluted, so this is them serving a useful function. Once it is on the funeral pyre, the fire is usually lit by the eldest son, who prays to Agni to transport the soul to the place of the ancestors. And this is interesting, because Agni is not a god worshipped by modern Hindus. He is that ancient fire god from the Vedas, but you see how enduring Hindu tradition is. Let's talk about festivals, which are huge in India. Given Hinduism's stunning diversity, they're also countless. Literally every day of the calendar year is holy. Just like to a Catholic, there's a saint day every day, often multiple ones. This is in part a function of the number of Hindu deities. Here's an example, Holi. It may be the most important Hindu holy day. See what I did there? There's another cognate. In North and Central India. It's rooted in a myth that tells of Vishnu's triumph over the demon Holika. As a spring festival, it is also a celebration of the new year and return to life. Holi is extremely colorful. It's sometimes called the Festival of Colors. It is reminiscent of the old European holiday, Midsummer's Night, when traditional social restrictions are relaxed, or kind of like a Mardi Gras. People throw colored water and powder at passers-by and may shout obscenities. A drink made from sweetened milk and marijuana extract is consumed. Brahmins may find themselves playfully attacked by untouchables. Men may appear in saris and makeup. Humiliation is heaped on those who are powerful every other day of the year. Holi, kind of like New Year's Eve in the West, provides a sort of chaotic counterpoint out of which proper Hindu order is derived. Here's some pictures of Holi. The old year is consumed in bonfires throughout India, which also represent the burning of the demon Holika. So, Hindus, like adherents of other world religions, take journeys for the purpose of spiritual renewal and insight. Pilgrimage is huge in Hinduism. Usually they involve a specific location associated with a god or goddess or some auspicious event. It is designed to bring the adherent closer to the divine. So it's both an inner and an outer journey. Pilgrimage is, of course, very varied and diverse in Hinduism. It is important because it is karmically meritorious, but also because India itself is holy. Bharat Mata, Mother India. Trees, villages, rivers are often identified with gods or goddesses, or even are gods or goddesses. The Ganges is a manifestation of the goddess Ganga. The holiest place in India is the city of Varanasi on the Ganges. It is considered the earthly home of Lord Shiva. There it is. Many pilgrims go to Varanasi as they approach death, since it is fantastic karma to die there. There are even hostels that only accept the terminally ill. This reminds me of the idea that it is considered very meritorious to die on your Hajj in Islam. And that is the karma yoga.